Hey everyone, Day here, and welcome back to another episode of my The Great Ace Attorney. So once again, we are going to hop into the trial of one Soseki Natsume. I want to say that this trial shall be coming to a swift resolve once we hop back in there. It seems as though one Roly Beat may have tampered with the crime scene and moved the victim's body from one side of the street to the other in hopes that he can enjoy his anniversary is my thought process at this point. I can't see it being anything else because of how far along the trial seems to be and how far along the new information we have gained has been become a little bit more extensive. And it's to the point that we know that Patricia dropped a bouquet, which is just a singular rose, on the ground next to the body once, well, next to the victim. She's not dead or anything, so she's not fully a body, but so yeah, she dropped that rose next to the victim's body, which happens to be on the Giradep side of the road, as versus to where she wound up, which is across the street. And I do want to also mention that if that is the case, Broly, I have lost a lot of respect for you. Mostly because of how Soseki Natsume is under the bus because of circumstances out of his control. And Broly knew the truth the whole time, which is why he made the statement of the Gyarados are not involved, because he knew oppositely, which came up a lot in the last trial, that they did have something to do and to contribute with the poor victim being stabbed in the back. So with that said, we will hop back into it. If it does turn out to be that is the case, which I'm pretty much at an 85% sure rate, then yeah, I will have lost most all my respect, because I feel like at this point he can come clean. I don't see why he couldn't very well do so, outside of maybe a male pride or something. I don't know, but it just seems like he could come forward, but he hasn't. In fact, he's still trying to hide that fact because he didn't want his wife to even let us know about the bouquet. That said, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby. Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road to where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of that meager bouquet, a single sorry bloom can be so described. No doubt it was blown in the wind across the street, back into the gutter where it blown. Meager! Don't do this to her. But if that were the case, why did Constable Beat not testify to the fact? No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beat swore to that on Scotland Yard's honor. The bouquet belonged to me. It has nothing to do with the case. That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure. No, because Sally is not only your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way around. What are you talking about? Think about it. Besides Mrs. Beat's bouquet, there's Mr. Gyarados' book. Mr. Gyarados' copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out of the window by his wife, would have shrunk the pane of the casement window and landed here, on the west side of the street. And yet, it was actually found here, on the opposite side of the road, in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beat's bouquet should have been dropped here, at the scene of the crime, on the east side of the street. But in fact, and I knew that the side of the street would come into play somehow, it was actually found here, on the opposite side of the road, in front of Mr. and Mrs. Gyarados' house. There is no logical explanation for those things, unless somebody deliberately moved them. you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rowley's done something wrong. Will you listen to a word that scrawny lawyer says? What are we on about books and bouquets? Why should we care? It's nitpicky, that's what it is. Oh, good. Mrs. Gardepp's come around. She had came around a while ago. I remember when they showcased the whole jury, and she was like already sitting up with her eyes open. You might call it nitpicking, Mrs. Gardepp, but deliberately meddling with the scene of a crime is a criminal offense. It's called tampering, Mr. Naruto. I kind of knew she would say that because tampering is exactly what it's called. But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it for a very subtle but compelling reason. He's an officer of the law. Tampering. You've barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend, who would possibly have had cause to carry out such an elaborate deception? Yes, there is someone who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence and all the testimony points to that one particular person. Consul, I must demand that you substantiate this conjecture. Who are you saying is responsible for tampering with the scene of the crime? Baron Baroque von Zeeks, the Reaper of the Bailey. I thought he was the Baron for some reason. A very small reason, I'm sure. I love the, just imagine if this game wasn't 3D. Like, this would be like the official art we would be looking at. In a small way, I kind of wish they would do kind of like Dragon Quest, where you could play it both ways. Like we could play it in 2D or in 3D, whichever our heart desires. I think that would be really cool. But it was you! A little Danganronpa. Obviously, there's only one person it could have been. Constable Rolly Beat, it was you. What? A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard? Being a policeman or a police officer, whichever one you wish to refer to, does not stop someone from committing tampering. And unfortunately, he had his reasons. What nonsense! Why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband. No Bobby works more tirelessly for the people of London. Mrs. Beat, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. The 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it. You're making it up. It's all nonsense. It's all lies. What about that Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it. If that was true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it. Oh. And forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, it was after the defendant had fled the scene. Ah! Well... Objection! First, you make accusations about the landlord and his wife, and now you incriminate a policeman as well. Bold of you, my learned friend. Very, very bold indeed. But your accusations lack one very important thing. You claim the crime scene was tampered with, but there is only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime: to hide something. That's right, he's right. But my husband and I just happened to be there, that's all. So why would we have anything to hide? It doesn't make sense. You've offered no motive for this alleged tampering. And until you do, your accusations are nothing more but empty threats. I don't know where that voice came from. Constable Beat had a very good reason for wanting to tamper with the scene of the crime. That's the key to this entire affair. Mr. Naruto, have you managed to solve this mystery? Consul, you have made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need not point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you will now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering. Yes, my lord. Constable Beat's motive for tampering with the crime scene was to hide where the victim fell to the ground. That is what this Bobby had to cover up at all costs. What?
Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? We tell you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement of Briar Road. We saw it happen, remember? It was right here. As if anyone didn't already know.
That's certainly what everybody has been led to believe. But in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all.
What? What?
It makes sense. Like, I'm like, why would it be directly across the street? There's only one reason that makes sense. Is that she was pulled, like, clean from where she was originally across the street. I'm beginning to wonder where this tumultuous trial will end, Consul. I think he enjoys... I think he enjoys it all. If that's your assertion, that the court is dying to know, my Nipponese friend. But are you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening? I wonder if I could just press here, right? That should be fine. But that's... on the opposite side of the road.
I don't understand.
On the evening in question, Mr. Garrideb's book fell directly down from the open window above. And your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself. Good gracious!
Objection!
Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place.
That's right. I saw it with my own eyes.
Look at Rolly though. Rolly looks as if he knows that the guilt is getting ready to just come out. He's not gonna turn dark. He's not gonna pull that gun back out, is he? Like, is that how is he gonna try to stage an escape with the gun? Sheesh, that would be insane. It was 5 o'clock in the evening and already dark. There was the typical London fog on the ground. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid, that was actually on the west side of Briar Road.
No, that's not true. It can't happen.
Constable Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crime scene. He moved all the things shown in this print, the victim herself, the 4 books. He moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of Briar Road. Extraordinary! I love how the judge never doubts anything we say. It seems like he's normal. Like, I don't think he's ever doubted fully anything Naruhodo has said, at least not from memory. But the constable overlooked one thing.
What? What did he overlook?
Your bouquet. The bouquet, I presume. Exactly. The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Von Zieg said it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. Yes, it couldn't be seen in the dark, obviously. Which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening. How do you respond? Constable Rolly Beat? I swear, if he pulls that gun out right here, right now, I can't. Don't do it. I was so nervous. Well, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. See? It's like he's trying to say, like, he just doesn't have the time. And it seems like they're very underpaid. Maybe that's, I don't think it's a bad assessment. Like, her clothes are super patched. Everything on him's dingy. He gave her 1 rose. It just doesn't seem like, even then, it just seems like you're doing charity work, working for the beat. Or I guess for the, police.
Did I
I miss anything important?
Unraveling. It isn't true, is it? What the lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is, because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know.
I had a dream. A terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything come out. Everything exposed. Von Zeeks is like, Von Zeeks in this moment is like, freaking heck, man. Yeah, not another loss on my belt. Only it seems it wasn't a dream at all. Good golly. Okay, so he's not gonna pull the gun out. Like, I don't care what panel what happens. If he pulls the dang gun out, I don't know how I would feel. I don't really truly know what my reaction would be. It might startle me. Order! What on earth is the meaning of all this?
Oh, Rowley, why? Why would you do something like this? Moving a corpse is a criminal offense, isn't it?
She's not a corpse, Patricia. She's not dead. Please don't do this to her. She's still alive. She's only hurt. That's why I said if he had just come clean earlier, I don't think anything major would have happened. An innocent man wouldn't be going to the gallows. It might hurt his job, and I can understand that part. Like, I can have some sympathy towards that part. He just wanted to spend an evening with his wife. And like, thinking about it like that, that's pretty sad. Like, cause it was going to be taken away from him, I guess, because even though he was off, because I believe he was off duty, even though he was off duty, because it was on his side of the road, they probably, after working a month straight, would have told him to work more. It's just like present day society. Wishing the victim dead should be one too. Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London Town. I can't say. What? Unacceptable. I really am ever so sorry about all this. But damaging the Yard's reputation. For everything. I have a possible explanation. I don't know why, but whenever he does that face, it just looks colder every time I see it the next time. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, sorry. For why? On that particular evening, yeah, it's because of that particular evening. Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. I could think of one reason. Von Zeeks, can you prove that you have no soul? Reaper of the Bailey is not an exaggeration. He feels like Edgeworth. Like, when you're cold and calculating and all you care about is to win, but he's not quite at that level of wanting to win. At least it doesn't seem like it. People shaking their little booties when he's around or when he's not around, but other than that, he doesn't seem like impossible. Like, it seems like he could be reasoned with. What? How could you possibly know? You, a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman. That has nothing to do with me understanding a fellow human being. Let's just keep it at that level. And yet, Lord Von Zeeks, it is this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far. This is what I'm saying. Like, Judge is literally in our corner pocket. I've noticed that. The Judge is in Ryunosuke's corner pocket. I would say even the Judge from Phoenix Wright. It was like he was just absent-minded most of the time. This Judge, he has sound mind and reason on his side. I believe it would be beneficial to the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Extraordinary young lawyer. Did you hear that? He called him an extraordinary young lawyer. Counsel for the defense, if you please. Yes, my lord. Now then, I think you had better show us some evidence. At once, my lord. England, Japan. It makes no difference where you come from. Human emotions are the same. Absolutely, absolutely. That's kind of what I was saying. Like, yes, nothing matters. At the end of the day, we all share that same humankind umbrella. And I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind this man's action. What gives away the motive for Constable Beat's unthinkable actions? Now, what proves that? Guess it's this. This is the only thing of his that we have, that he gave to us personally. I realize that I'm a foreigner in this land, and I have only just arrived from Japan, which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I've learnt that, though honorable, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world, for example. Keeping the peace, looking after the citizens on his beat in all kinds of ways. There's no doubt that the young bobby is charged with a great deal to do each day, certainly. But for Constable Beat, the day in question was special. Special? How? Come on, Judge. On account of this bouquet, my lord.
Oh, yes! It was our very first wedding anniversary.
Now you get it, Von Zeeks. Now you're starting to see the light. Do you understand? Constable Beat had worked so hard to be able to afford this simple gift for his wife. Dude, if they make me cry, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. And was so looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal. When he and Mrs. Beat stumbled upon a crime scene along Briar Road. When he saw that shadowy figure through the fog collapse on the pavement ahead of them. What must have gone through the man's mind? Okay. So I really didn't figure all of it out. So apparently Soseki was behind her. And yeah, he didn't, because of the fog and everything, he didn't see the knife, he probably didn't see the book. So he wasn't behind the old man, he was always behind her. Okay. What must have gone through the man's mind?
But sir, just on that particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Bay puts up with a lot being married to a bobby like me. I want to show my dear wife how much I care.
Oh, don't do this to me. Like, I know, it's just a video game. You don't have to cry over it, but dude, this kind of thing happens in real life. Like being too busy, not having enough time, things just slipping through the cracks of your fingers. This is real. Like, it happens to people on a daily. So I can even feel the emotion behind it. Like, especially when he was working straight for a month. This is the warrant card that Constable Beat offered to lend to me earlier. Inside, among the rules for patrolling policemen, it says, when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Aha! Constable Beat. I think the judge is eating this up in a way, like, he's like, wow, you are an amazing individual besides just getting the information. Is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene on the crime that day?
Yes. Everything you said, it's all right.
But that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat.
Oh!
Exactly. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat. Good gracious! Constable, do you realize the gravity of what you have done?
was the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cussed God. Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal could still be lurking somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. We've got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. But then, it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Why here? Why did this have to happen here? And why tonight? Of all nights?
Why? What an interesting crime. The whole thing is just insane. I'm playing this game called what is the name of that game? I can't think of it right now. I don't know, but this reminds me of a case in this other Switch game I was playing. Why can I not think of it? Where it was like the reason you could not figure out why or who or what or motive is because there were more than one individuals taking part in the crime. So it made it difficult to actually pinpoint who did what. Like how I was saying it was Joan, and technically it was Joan, but it slipped through the cracks of my fingers because this guy also had a part, and it just made everything sloppy.
It's the copper's job to go at the scene of the crime, so Pat should have to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then, when I opened my mouth to speak, it just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This is the next beat. This is the next beat to my Pat. So you have to go to the police box that covers it. Turn right along Mearsham Street, and then...
Aww. Don't do this to me.
Yeah, no!
I am completely with Susato. I am with Susato 100%. Oh, they're really gonna make tears come to my eyes. I'm trying my best. Don't.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, Constable. I couldn't even be Susato. Oh, man.
I just wanted, just that one night, take my Patricia out for dinner.
Just that one night.
Oh, really? Just that one night.
You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening and celebration would be ruined. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction. Just across the street, the east pavement of Briar Road falls under the neighboring beat's care.
You see, I thought, well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see.
Well, that kind of upped the way I felt about things. Judge. Honestly, at first I thought the victim was dead. It's probably why his wife keeps saying like victim, corpse, and all that stuff. I beg your pardon.
Oh, of course he did. Otherwise, my Rolly would never have left that poor woman on the freezing cold pavement.
Ah, I see your meaning now. That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, he just left her. She was still alive and he just left her. Like, dude, just imagine being kind of alive. Like, I guess she's in a coma now or something, but and your body's getting dragged across the street. Jeez.
But God got me back from my sin city. That's why I missed the rose I bought for Pal. Oh no, Ellie, that was all my fault. Should never have dropped it in such a dark
No, don't be sorry. He needs to atone for his crimes. And can you tell us, Constable? Like, an innocent man. Like, come on, Patricia, don't do this to me. An innocent man would be going down for a crime he didn't commit. How many books did you move from the one side of the road to the other in total? It was. Yes, sir, definitely. 4. Them dropped by Mr. Natsume. And the 4th. And the one that fell from the window upstairs in the Garadeb household, of course. Yeah, duh. Like, I remember, like, I know I kind of thought that Soseki was behind the older gentleman at one point of the trial. But yeah, he dropped the books in front of her, so he was obviously that always was his route. That was used just so that we could get to this point. But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? When all the others were scattered haphazardly around, I mean. Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. Oh, you found it? What do you mean? When we first went over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, I moved everything. I made sure it was still in her hand. You're sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that the victim was holding? Wait, so we didn't solve Blue's clues? But yes, sir. I did better, sir. Like, I thought we were all on the same page. That if he moved the crime scene and the knife and the book came out the window, I guess I'm still ahead of the curve. I thought everyone was on the same page here. Interesting. Dude. I solved this like, what, 45 plus minutes ago? I'm not gonna read that. It's just essentially saying the same thing he just said. I thought it was an open and shut case at the time, you see? There were only the 2 people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. However, which way you looked at it, it had to be the fellow who ran off who done it, I thought. Oh yeah, because Soseki was indeed behind the lady, he assumed that he had stabbed him. And this, my friends, my learned friends, goes back to what I said about 3 or so episodes ago, in which you cannot come to conclusions without having all the facts. I couldn't see the harm, really. I didn't think moving it all over the road would make a jot of difference, but it did, really. It did, and I honestly hope anyone watching this, anyone in the gallery, any other constables, pay attention to the fact that yes, it may seem like an open and shut case, but sometimes looks can be deceiving, especially when you're dealing with fog and stuff. I suppose this is it for me now. I've had it. My lord. Yes, Lord Von Zeeks. I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses. So you're telling me that we're really not going to talk to the neighbors, the people that we saw before. This literally will be the first time in history I ever played the Ace Attorney game where this has happened. Constable, you may withdraw.
Yes, sir. Mr. Prosecutor, sir. What will become of my really? What will happen to him?
For now, you are free to go home. Police will contact you in due course.
Please, don't punish my husband. This was all my fault. It's because I'm always moaning at him for coming home late.
Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I'm tired.
Alright then, my love.
One last thing, Constable.
Sir!
Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you. Ooh, he summed up my ramblings. My ramblings so clean. In one sentence. I have to look up to Laura Von Zeeks now.
Yes, sir.
Carve that lesson in your mind. And never again make the mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime.
Ah, never again, sir. You mean to say?
Leave. Now. This trial is not yet over. Giving him another chance.
Sir.
I guess overall they realized they have been overworking the dang guy. Like, he is overworked a month straight. Like, come on. Well, quite a startling revelation, I must say. Whoever thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of a crime like that? It's Ace Attorney, sir. You have to think of everything. I did not think of that initially, but I mean, once other key dots were connected, it was obvious. Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here. Principally, the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume, is the only person who could possibly have committed this crime. No, I disagree. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there is someone else. Another person who could be responsible for the knife in the victim's back. Forgive me for being presumptuous, but I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of this possibility already. Lord Von Zeeks, is this true? Very well. Name the person if you will, and if further investigation is warranted. The prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing. You will name this other person who could have perpetrated the crime.
Take that!
Joan is only 38? Man, I hate being that person, but I thought they were older. The defense will once again like to request a cross-examination of a new witness, my lord. Once again? My assistant made the same request earlier, but it wasn't the right time. In order to finally reveal the truth about this case, it's imperative that we cross-examine juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garadeb.
Me? Me? Oh, dearie me!
Objection!
That request has already been denied.
Objection!
But the situation is very different now. Mrs. Garadeb, answer me this.
What do you want now, you little toad?
Toad. At the time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. Joan Garadeb. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited. And to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looks out over Briar Road.
Well, what of it?
You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the open-top hinged casement window, the book plummeted directly down, finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the incident.
Yes, and as I said, what of it?
During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could get your hands on. So, let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garadeb. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back, have you really never laid eyes on it before?
Ah! I don't recall it.
Seriously?
Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw at my husband? And anyway, the man over there and all that regalia said members of the jury needn't testify, did he?
Conveniently, yes.
Objection!
No, I have no recollection of saying that at all. Juror number 4. You do not put words in Mr. Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Baroque Von Zeeks' mouth.
Oh!
Make no mistake, you jurors are not special in any way. You are not immune to the judicial process. I love this guy. You are not immune to the judicial process. If you know something about this knife, madame, let the truth come out.
What? But that's just a common or garden knife.
Just a common or garden knife?
It could have come from anywhere. We have several like that at home. If one went missing, how would you expect me to know?
What's that? Are you joking? What are you saying? Please, Mrs. Garadeb.
You listen to me.
And then on top of that, she's still blackened. So.
I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought that I'd injured someone. Do you hear? I couldn't bear it.
The poor woman.
So, yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence. If you're going to insist on this being my fault, you're going to have to prove to me that I threw that knife. That's what you think. Come along now. Chop chop. Do your worst.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, if I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it at her already. Then take the stand, juror. Von Ziegs. What a great man. Just what a great man.
Oh!
The prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman. Oh, thank you, Lord Von Ziegs. Ugh, she went and pissed off the Reaper of the Bailey.
I'm going to have to testify.
Makes sense. I mean, the crime scene was literally in front of your window. Whether you want to hear the truth, acknowledge the truth, whatever, the truth must come out. The truth must come to light. Jury number 4. As I'm sure you will appreciate, having observed it with your own eyes today, witness testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed. Truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware.
Oh, dearie me!
So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Garadeb. And mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth. I think even the judge knows the truth. Holy cow. Do you concur, consuls? Certainly, my lord. Oh, that's what I'm hoping for, my lord. Jones' mouth being wide open. This is such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving in this country, it actually feels real. I'm here, in the Old Bailey, and I'm a lawyer. My baby has grown up. He said he is a lawyer. He is a lawyer. Out of the horse's mouth, as they say. This is great. This is awesome. I love it. Woo! We're going to stop it right here. I probably should have just left it on the last one because it was so powerful. Ryunosuke's back. His sentence. Beautiful. But no, this trial is a wild west trial indeed. There is definitely a lot of different steps. I honestly thought we were all on the same page. I thought that if it was understood that the book came out the window, the knife came out the window, but I suppose no one confirmed that the knife was really the Garadeb's. The book was obviously burned, right? So that made it obvious, but the knife had no such identifiers. So it makes sense for why we have to actually interrogate her now and question this witness. One Mrs. Joan Garadeb, it all comes back around to you. But anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I hope that you look forward to the next episode where hopefully we put a nice little bow on this case and we pull the truth from Joan and get the resolution we need to get Soseki Natsume off. And until next time, I hope you all have a great and wonderful day. See you again soon. Bye.